Uh, Welcome everyone to this session on what energy is about. How do I introduce this topic? We are all familiar with energy, I am tired, I don't have energy, and oh, I'm feeling very excited today. Can you all hear me? So now I will jump straight into what Yogananji tells us about um, energy. So he says, matter itself was simply thought into existence, first as energy and then as matter. Because matter, now this is all, I mean, many of us are science people, I know that Sumanji, Deepa, Gunjan, me, and Rameshwar. I don't know about Sonali, but this is like very, very elementary, so should be able to follow it. So, first is energy, which manifests as matter. When the vibratory level changes, it manifests as matter. Matter is energy on a grosser level of manifestation. This is the discovery of modern science. But scientific meditation by the yogis long ago has established that cosmic energy too is a projection of the will of God. Now, science itself endorses that matter as we know it is an illusion. What we see around are not solid rocks, towering trees, flowing rivers, and the bodies of men and animals. Behind those appearances, we have whirling masses of atoms. Everything is composed of atoms. And atoms themselves are essentially vibrating particles. Vibratory means it has energy. Energy makes them vibrate. So there is this ocean of energy that's all around us, which is manifested as atoms, rocks, trees, waters, human and animal bodies. Now, the events that happen in our life, we are told that even thought is a thing. This is a little difficult to grasp, but if you just take the statement that thoughts are things, I'll share with you an experience I once had. When we are in a particular place and we think a thought, that thought remains in the ether there. So I was once traveling in the car and I got out. A friend was driving. I got out, and then when I came back, I suddenly, there was this song, one Hindi song, which started coming to my mind. So I asked him, were you playing this song? And he said yes. Now, there was no music happening at that time when I re-entered the car. But in that space, in the air, those notes were hanging. Similarly, German scientists have tried to take from space the sound of Krishna giving the discourse of Bhagavad Gita. That's what we came to know sometime, some decades back. Of course, I did not follow it up. A third experience that I would like to share with you is that it happened with me once. A very, very mundane experience. And this is in the kitchen. So I'm a slightly disorderly person. I mean, not very tip top and some, but I mean reasonably neat. But I do sometimes, when I'm in a hurry, I'll just dump a thing and go away. And when I left it and went, I had this thought, that when somebody else comes in, they are likely to find this irritating. Why is this lying here? And that's exactly what happened. So, Guruji means Paramhans Yogananda, tells us that thoughts are things. And what is thought? Thought is born out of consciousness. So he says, even the universe is composed not of matter, but of consciousness. In the ultimate analysis, matter responds to the power of thought, and willpower directs energy. Energy in turn acts upon matter. So the stronger your willpower, the greater the force of energy, and the more likely you are to achieve your ends. That's why mastering our energy is very important. A strong will, when it is combined with awareness of cosmic energy, can effect miracles. I will share with you our experience in Ananda as we were part of the healing group, and we would recite prayers. We would pray for whoever was sick, and what we actually do is that we will project the thought of wellness. When we receive a request for prayer for some disorder, it can be anything. It can be like not having a job. It can be like somebody suffering from COVID, or somebody who is finding difficulty in their relationships. So what we would do is that we would hold the situation in light and visualize that things are back to normal, they are in order, they are in the situation in which people want them to be. And in almost like 80 to 85, 90% of the cases, those prayers were successful. Not because we're not miracle workers or anything, but because it's like four, five, six of us together sitting and praying, putting out the same thought and the same intention. It manifests the end that you require. So, when you have a desire and energy which can be directed and focused in a certain manner, then you can fulfill your desire. Now, energy, like electricity, it creates energy. Electricity is a form of energy, no? So, electricity creates a magnetic field. That's an example. All energy creates a magnetic field, um, which can attract to itself the consequences of the kind of energy that you have put out. So Guruji tells us that that is how karma comes back to us, because the intention with which you put out an action, it generates a magnetic field. Sometimes the consequences, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So sometimes the consequences are delayed if the willpower which was behind a thought or deed was not powerful enough to have immediate results. Or because some conflicting energy was there, because of which the consequences were delayed. Now, this is not only about karma. Even if you're trying to say put a plan into action, if you don't put out the requisite energy and willpower, it will not happen. Or if somebody puts a spanner and sets in motion some conflicting energy, it will not happen. Similarly, about karma. So, sooner or later, every action has to reap its final reaction, like a circle completing itself, whether the action is of body or thought or of desire. And that's how Paramahansaji says that man, being made in the image of God, himself then becomes a creator, because that the kind of energy that you put out is the kind of energy you will attract, which will manifest in terms of um, your supporting or otherwise relationships. It will also manifest in terms of, having to put in so much labor and getting very little money in return. Or it will manifest in like having difficulties with your career, bad subordinates, bad officers, things like that. So people seldom think of their own actions as bad. Whatever they do seems to them well intentioned, but he's very clear about this. If they create disharmony for others, they also create disharmony for themselves at a deeper level, because those waves of disharmony will inevitably return to them in the form of disharmony. Now, how can we get out of this um, circle, this circle of setting in motion and the energy coming back to us? We have to break the cycle somehow. And what we are told is, if you can rid yourself of the consciousness that I have done this, and take it, distance yourself from it as a play that's happening. And again, the classical example of the whole world is a stage, is a drama, and we are just performing different kind of roles. So he says, once you stop seeing yourself as the causative agent, the waves of delusion may continue to rise and fall outwardly, but you yourself will no longer be affected. Like you're in a cocoon of indifference or uninvolvement. You don't suffer so much then. He says that you have to still your mind by deep meditation. During activity, don't feel that it is you who are acting. Act with the thought that God is the doer. Pray to Him. Bhagavan, you're acting through me. Even when you make mistakes, make Him responsible for it. He likes that. Now, this I find very strange. We make the mistake and we make God responsible for it. He likes that. So he says that, of course, you mustn't deliberately do wrong and then lay the blame on him. But if you are doing your best and still you fail, then you can give your failure to him. Cling to the thought that you are ever free in yourself. So the tools we are given is devotion, because unless you have devotion, you cannot, and unless you have faith that there is a God or there is a superpower, whatever you like to call it, which is running the universe, you cannot have devotion, you cannot have that detachment, you have no one to fall back upon, and you can never separate yourself from the consequences of your action. So he says, as far as action is concerned, desireless action is the pathway to freedom, which is the message of Bhagavad Gita. And now he tells us how we can, practically, all this is like theory, you may say, and how can we practically exercise, control over energy through thought. That's one thing. He says that the human brain is the storehouse of energy, of life energy, prana shakti. And this energy is constantly being used in muscular movements, and in the working of heart, lungs, etc., in the circulation of the blood, and in receiving and transmitting nerve impulses. Emotions and physiological action also depends on life energy. So, one of the greatest tools is the mind. If you can strengthen your mind through calming it, through meditation, then you can focus your energy in any one direction. And whatever happens to be irrelevant, fear, for example, working towards avoiding a risk is one thing, but being overtaken by fear is a great enemy to the right use of energy. And so then, now we come to the practical aspect. Now, suppose that you had a very busy day at the office, you come back extremely tired, hoping to crash into bed for some rest. Maybe you're thinking, let me order some food, and here I am. But suddenly the phone rings and there's an old school friend very dear to you who says, यार मैं एक दिन के लिए आया हूँ, तू मिलेगा मुझे या मिलोगी तुम मुझे? And I mean, that sets in motion so much excitement, so much energy that you quickly go get ready and go and meet him or her, and you're full of energy and enthusiasm. Now, where did the energy come from? It's not as though you had an energy drink. I mean, you could have an energy drink, but essentially, it's your mind, that the thought within you, which was charged with energy. And the moment that there is something, so that's a rule actually, anything that really interests us, we always have energy for that. For example, people who are fond of going around will not have energy for household chores, but will be very willing to get ready and go out for, say a picnic. So now we come to the practical aspect. Just one tiny exercise which I will do. And those of you who are familiar with these teachings might be knowing about this. So just hold out your arm and move it a little up and down. Does it feel heavy? Does it feel light? And in your mind, give it a number in terms of energy. Say, suppose out of 10, if 10 is like maximum energy, then how much energy do you have at the moment? Now put your arm down. Take a deep breath. Now put it out again and then tense the arm. This part of the arm with willingness, with willpower. Just tense it. Tense, tense, tense till it vibrates. And then relax. Now let's combine it with breathing. So we will inhale and tense and exhale and relax. And exhale and relax. Now feel your arm again. Does it feel more energized? So this is one way. This is a demonstration actually that willpower draws energy, and it is the connection between mind and the body. Your willpower is the connection between mind and body. Energy is the connection between mind and body. When you have willingness, then you have more energy than when you are unwilling. No, I don't want to do anything. Whereas on the other hand, ये करना है मुझे. Now, for example, that you have a deadline approaching. How fast can you work? I mean, you will have coffee and keep working. You will splash water in your eyes and then keep working. And whereas if you don't have a deadline, you're like kal kar lenge, kal kar lenge. So your energy levels vary, not because of the body, but because of your own mind. So meditation is one of the tools that we are told, and now is time for meditation. But I would like us to do some physical exercise if people are willing. Please put up your hand if you can stand up and do a little something. Gunjan is willing. Gunjan is early morning, so she's willing. Nice. Anyway, even one person is. Sumanji is also willing. So I just put up my video for a moment. Sonali is willing. So I just put up my video for a moment to reset the area, and I'll come back. I don't know how much you can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do marching in place. Please stand up. And what we say is, I'm awake and ready. I'm awake and ready. I'm awake and ready. Awake and ready. I'm awake and ready. I'm awake and ready. And then we come to, yes, we can stop. Then we come to, I'm positive, energetic, and enthusiastic. I am positive, energetic, and enthusiastic. I am positive, energetic, and enthusiastic. Then we have another one which I will sit down and show you because I'm not coming in the frame totally. I am master of my body. I am master of myself. I am master of my body. I am master of myself. I am master of my body. I am master of myself. This is what we do. I mean, we make sort of a fist. We don't hit ourselves very hard, but just patting ourselves. I'm master of my body. I'm master of myself. and we knock our head. Awake, my brain, be wise and strong. Awake, my brain, be wise and strong. Awake, my brain, be wise and strong. So that is it. And I'd like you to again give yourself a number in terms of energy. How energetic do you feel? Let's take a few deep breaths. Inhale and exhale at your own pace. Wait for the breath to calm down. How responsive is the body, no? Just like I think 2 minutes. And everything is moving so fast, your circulation, your breathing. Some of us might be sweating with warm clothes. Anyway, so let's continue. Sit up straight. Eyes closed. Spine erect. Palms upturned at the junction of thigh and abdomen. Shoulders back but relaxed. Let's bring our attention to the feet. Tense and relax the feet 3 times. Tense and relax the calf 3 times. Tense and relax the thighs 3 times. Relax the lower abdomen. Don't tense the abdomen, please. Relax the lower abdomen. Relax the upper abdomen. Tense and relax the palms consciously. The forearm, tense it and relax. Upper arm, tense and relax. Left side of the chest, tense and relax. Right side of the chest, tense and relax. Shoulders, Shrug your shoulders and relax them. Relax the neck. Relax the lips, the chin and the lips. Relax the cheeks. Relax the forehead. Now examine the body for any stored tension. Check your feet, check your ankles, your calves. Check your thighs. Make sure your seat is comfortable. Check that your back is straight but relaxed. Check the lower abdomen, the upper abdomen, the palms, the forearms, the upper arms, the chest, the neck, the chin. Check your ears. Are they relaxed? Your eyes closed. Gaze uplifted behind closed eyes as though looking at a distant mountain peak. If your spine is slouching, please straighten it. Sit tall and relaxed. Now focus on the breath. Feel your stomach expanding as you inhale. Going in as you exhale. Expansion of the belly on inhalation. Drawing in on exhalation. Let's establish the rhythm of diaphragmatic breathing. This is called diaphragmatic breathing. The belly expands when you inhale and contracts when you exhale. Now let's focus on the breath. Just watch the breath without controlling it. Is the breath warm or is it cool? Cool on inhalation, warm when you exhale. Let us follow the breath into the nostril. Bring it up to the spiritual eye. Station your attention at the spiritual eye and allow the breath to go back. Inhale, watching the inhalation from the spiritual eye, the point between the eyebrows. With the next inhalation, add the sound hong to the inhalation. Hong on inhalation is the sound of the breath. Feel as if it makes the sound hong. And as your breath returns, the sound saw. Hong, saw. Hong, saw. Now you can let go of the mantra Hong Saw, but continue to breathe. Inhale and exhale. You may feel the breath has become long and very quiet. As the breath becomes longer, the mind grows calm. Sometimes the breath seems to stop and be very still. Enjoy the stillness. With the next exhalation, feel as if you're stepping out into a space of light and power, a space where an unknown, loving being breathes, watches over you. Your father, your mother, your friend, God. Feel the presence of this great being of light and power. Feel that you are loved and cherished. Feel that you are at home, our eternal home. And now, when you feel to follow your breath back to the spiritual eye, gather all your energy at the spiritual eye and surrender to this universal consciousness, to God, in gratitude and devotion for the life we have received, for the blessings we have been given. Feel yourself as a child of God. Feel one with God. This moment of oneness, of stillness, of eternity, never ending bliss. This moment when you are Satchitanand, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. While still in this superconscious state, listen to these words on energy by Swami Kriyananda. Energy is ours not when we hoard our strength, but when we devote it willingly, joyfully, towards the attainment of that in which we deeply believe. Faith and energy go hand in hand. If you have deep faith in what you're doing, you can move mountains. Energy is always highest when your cause is just. The greater one's faith, the greater is his willpower. And the greater the willpower, the greater is his flow of energy. Now, please repeat after me. First loudly, then softly, then in a whisper. First loudly. Within me lies the energy to accomplish all that I will to do. Behind my every act is God's infinite power. Once more loudly. Within me lies the energy to accomplish all that I will to do. Behind my every act is God's infinite power. Now a bit softly. Within me lies the energy to accomplish all that I will to do. Behind my every act is God's infinite power. Within me lies the energy to accomplish all that I will to do. Behind my every act is God's infinite power. Now mentally only, within me lies the energy to accomplish all that I will to do. Behind my every act is God's infinite power. Within me lies the energy to accomplish all that I will to do. Behind my every act is God's infinite power. Now is a prayer. O cosmic energy, vitalize all the cells of my body. Recharge my mind with boundless inspiration. Fill my soul with thy inexhaustible joy. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. When you are ready, please put on your videos. Yeah, it's very difficult to ask questions, after a meditation like this because the mind is very still. But still, if you have any questions, please unmute yourself.
Sorry. You related your experience about one song playing in your friend's car when you were out and when you came back. So you could make out that song was playing in the car. Is there any prerequisite required for getting any this kind of experience?
Except that the mind has to be like receptive and calm when you're preoccupied, because the mind, is we've all studied, originally tabula rasa kind of a thing. But
Okay.
then there's so much overload on the mind, and that we are never really receptive. We are never really sensitive. We are so full of our own thoughts and feelings and ideas that we're not able to catch, the perceptive faculty gets affected. And I'm not saying that it is bound to happen, but it will gradually start happening if you can keep your mind, like, there are things which you have to teach yourself to believe in, that you're not going to be hurt by anything and you will outlast everything, and you're strong enough and nobody can really damage you. And I mean, you are actually connected to God and you're God's child, and so you're like invincible. But
Mhm.
most of the time we are, full of worries and concerns, and these days, this, the kind of environment that we live in, it is not conducive to peace of mind. So this was just, I mean, I was very young. I must have been, I mean, by comparison, I must have been 40 year old that time. Not very young, I'll call it. And I we just went for some small work I had somewhere, and my friend, I said, "ये मेरे को ले चलो तुम." तो हम गए, and then um, he must have been getting bored, so he put on the radio,
Yeah.
And when I came back, this song suddenly started playing. I said, "यार मैंने तो नहीं सुना सुना इसको, मैंने चलाया भी नहीं, क्यों आ रहा है मेरे दिमाग में?" So I asked him. I mean, it just hit me. I asked
Okay.
him, I said, तुम क्या गाना सुन रहे थे? He says, yes. So then I asked him कि ये वाला सुन रहे थे? He says, yes. I was amazed. I mean, it was so amazing, really. But I suppose God gives you these experiences just to prove, the truth of all these things that the gurus say.
Sometimes you think a song plays in your head. I don't know if it's happened with anybody else, but it echoes in your head, and a few minutes later or a few seconds later, you hear that on the
Yeah,
radio.
that also happens.
Yeah, that's
That,
happened to me a few, like 2, 3 times maybe.
and you remember a friend and the friend calls. That's very
Yes,
common.
Yeah,
yes,
that
yes.
happens. Yeah.
That happens.
That we
So,
call it telepathy, but it's probably what.
no, no, telepathy. See, telepathy is one of the facets. I
Hmm.
wonder how many of you have seen that film called Matrix.
Yeah.
है ना?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what's the nature of the universe, and that's why, I mean, I had to cut my discourse short on energy. But things are interconnected. For example, there'll be a scientific discovery. This thing about thoughts are things. Let's go into it a little further. So, in the scientific world, very often it'll happen that somebody discovers something, or brings out a principle, and just and there'll be another scientist, अरे यार इसने पहले निकाल दिया, मैं तो यही तो कहने वाला था, मेरा आर्टिकल तैयार नहीं हुआ, things like that. So ideas, because ideas are the product of consciousness, and consciousness is universal, and we actually have antennae which latch into this conscious universe. And so if you are in that right vibratory frequency, you'll be catching the same idea as someone else working in the same field. So that it very often happens, that इसलिए वो कहते हैं ना कि वो ये हमारा वाला ये इंडियन साइंटिस्ट को नहीं मिला क्रेडिट. आई थिंक मार्कोनी का वायरलेस वाला भी था कि there was some Indian scientist who should have got it but didn't get it.
Mm.
So what's actually happening is, I mean, it's nobody's fault. It's a feature. I mean, that an idea whose time has come. So the idea has ripened in the universe, and people who are ready to receive it, they receive it. So I don't know if I'm making any sense.
No, no, I can understand because I'm experiencing this every day. Like when I think of doing something or for someone or otherwise. So my husband, who is sitting next to me, would say, "Well, let's do this."
That happens in the family very frequently.
Yeah,
Because essentially we are all in the same matrix, you may say, having the same kind of experiences, the same kind of consciousness. So two different minds or maybe three different minds, but everybody will get the same idea at that time.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's how we are all interconnected. That again is energy and energy ki frequency, and there's so much to it actually. There was like energy ka one principle is that energy moves in waves. Of course there is also the particle theory, but the particles behave like waves and the waves behave like particles, and anyway, so let's settle for this, that energy moves in waves. So when it moves in waves, you have to have a crest and a trough.
yeah,
So your energy in your own body is likely to be at a peak and then is likely to go down. But if there are so many energies going out in different directions, like you're also interested in a movie, you're also interested in good food, you're also interested in studying, you're also interested in visiting and talking to your friends, but each one of them will behave differently. But if you can bring it all together, even for a little moment or for some time, then you can get somewhere with that energy. Then there'll be a constant to that energy. And that, I don't know, if you can grasp it. I mean, that's why focusing of energy is important. If you can focus your energy by whatever means, by, you know, people have become miracle workers, who are great devotees of one or the other deity. Shri Krishna ka hai, Shri Ram ke hai. I mean, they have experienced miracles and they have been able to perform miracles because their energies, mental energies, have been focused. And that's the same with saints and yogis. Each one of us is a potential yogi if you can really get down to it.
So we've also heard about this term which is common these days, energy vampires,
Oh,
which says
yes, yes, yes.
if you're around a negative person, you
Yeah,
feel person too.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same
yeah.
person, I think. It's the same.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because they're very depressive.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for everything, they will raise a suspicion, or for everything, I
Objection.
mean, they'll never move
Objection or
forward.
something. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Objection ही लगाते रहेंगे.
Uh-huh.
तो उनसे बचना होता है.
So
yeah.
you
That's
feel
right.
dread. You
That's why
feel
it is important to be away from them.
Yeah.
yes.
But sometimes they are part of the family, it's very difficult.
Yes.
I think it's God's principle of light and dark. Na diya tale andhera. So if you're full of light, your partner or your child or somebody, your brother, sister, has to be dark. And that's how you have to give them light and make your light bright.
Yes, that is the thing.
There's no other way.
Yeah.
You can never give up people. I mean, even colleagues, you can't really give them up. Suppose you have, you're a teacher and you have a principal who's like that. I mean, you can't give up the principal. You can't give up the school. You can't
You
give up the
also
job.
have to limit you have to limit your interactions probably and stay out
Yeah,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah. And there's
Uh,
one this thing which Our teachers teach us Om Tat Sat. You do this and you create a cocoon around yourself. I can show it to you. थोड़ा दूर करना पड़ेगा मुझे. So we stand up and we do this. Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. 3 times. I mean, what I mean to say is whether it's a cocoon that's formed or not, but you've strengthened your mind. What I would say is you've strengthened your mind because you made yourself aware that you're not going to allow anything to sort of infect your thought process.
Could you do the Om Tassat once again, Rashmi, please?
Om Tat Sat.
Acha.
Om Tat Sat.
And this
Om.
removes the negative.
No, it creates a sort of a shell around you.
Oh, shell around you. Nice, nice. That's even
And
better.
if you've done it consciously, then you're aware. Now, another thing about energy is that you can direct energy when you have the awareness of it. So
Yeah.
you can direct away energy also, repel bad energy if you're aware of it.
How do you do it? By doing Om Tat Sat.
Mentally.
Okay.
Don't accept it. Don't be like an open thing and anyone can walk over you. Anything can enter your mind. No, I mean evaluate what they're saying and don't get into, I mean keep your, it'll happen. I mean when you practice it consciously, then you'll realize it's happening. You're something that you stand for, no? And that's why meditation helps, to come to know yourself also. What do I stand for? What am I? What are the things that I really believe in? What are the things I'd like to do? How do I want to live my life? How do I want to live with, relate to the world? How do I want to, I mean, if you can be centered in convincing yourself that you're invincible, then you will be invincible. Of course, keep your connection. Otherwise, it'll be like foolishly leaving yourself
Like,
open to.
like
Yeah.
somebody we know, Trump.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
I see.
Yeah. I'm so happy to have such lovely people with me. Thank you all for joining. Shall
Thank
we
you.
Thank
close?
you,
Thank you
Rashmi.
so
It's so
very much. It
wonderful.
was a great
Yeah.
session.
Please
Very good
keep
session.
Looking
joining
forward
us.
to next week. Okay, guys.
Sumanji, you
Bye.
are here for the first time. I hope
Yeah,
you
but
enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed and got so much from this.
Okay. And that's a big thing for me. You're already on the path, for so many years.
So it'll be on every Friday.
Friday. Every Friday, same time.
Okay.
Unless, of course, there's a big something that happens because of which I have to cancel. In which case, I'll try and, do it either one day earlier or one day later. But essentially, it's Friday.
Thank you.
Bye then. Good
Bye.
night.
Good
Good
night.
morning, Gunjan. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And good morning, Rashmi. I can start my day with this positive energy.
I
Love it.
swear, you're so lucky. But we will have the whole weekend in this positive energy.
Yeah. Yeah, so will I.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening, everybody. Bye bye.
Uh,
Bye.
thank you, Rameshwar and Shivani also.